I've lost a few jobs because of my bumper stickers.
What are your bumper stickers?
Well, it says you can't fix stupid, but you can elect it out. And then on the side it says, if you voted for Biden, you owe me gas money.
Our potential, it's exponential.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another podcast episode. I'm here with my good friend, Eric. Eric, thank you for coming.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man. So we met at the Gardens Green Market many years ago.
About 6 years ago.
Yeah, and I love Eric so much. He's amazing. He has so much to offer today. My first question for you, Eric.
Yeah.
How'd you become such a pro at irrigation?
Well, it all started in 1982 when I left the military. I went through several other jobs, masonry, electrical, plumbing. And then I finally answered an ad in the paper for irrigation and turned out something that I was good at.
Cool, man.
So I went up the ranks pretty quick. Foreman, after 2 years of working for the Hoover company, I decided to go on my own. Me and my wife started our own little business. We were called Water Wizard. We had Water Wizard for 7 years. Then Desert Shield came and the banks all shut down, so we kind of lost all our financing and our financing abilities, and because we were too small to begin with.
So you couldn't get your
No, we just weren't in it that far enough.
You got you
to have that much capital. We didn't have that much capital on hand,
in
so
hindsight.
we had to end up going out of business.
Yep.
After that, I was a little set off about being in the irrigation business, so I actually answered an ad for shutters. I became a shutter subcontractor all the way up until a week before Andrew, Hurricane Andrew.
Really?
Yes.
So what happened? That was in the 90s, right?
That was in the 90s. That was a big hurricane that hit Miami, and I sold that and went to work for the city of Margate. Worked for the city of Margate for about a year and a half.
What'd you do for that?
Irrigation.
Gotcha.
Found it to be extremely boring.
Yeah. Working for the city.
Same thing. You did the same thing every day. It was same old. So that wasn't going to work. And so then I answered an ad for a company called LDC, which was a large landscape company out of Miami. They were looking for a qualifier. I was an irrigation contractor. They were looking for a qualifier, so I qualified them. Worked for them for 2 years. They weren't very financially able either. They fell apart, and the company fell apart. And then at that point, I started working for ANCO Services, which is a large maintenance company that in Palm Beach County at the time.
In Palm Beach County?
In Palm Beach County. We didn't do much in Broward. We did some irrigation in Broward. We traveled. The irrigation department traveled. We did work in Disney. We did work in Broward. We did work in Miami. We did work in Naples, Fort Myers, Marco Island.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
you were their irrigation guy?
I was their qualifier and their department head.
Qualifier and department head. I love that.
Yeah, sorry, man, it's hot.
No, you're good. I appreciate you guys. We're doing it outside now. It's August. It's September now. Shoot. So it's hot.
It is.
So I appreciate you making it happen.
No problem.
But dude, so you were telling your story. Yeah. So how long did you work there?
I worked at ANCO for about 15 years.
Wow. And
then I left, went to work for a company called Coastal Gardens. I worked there for 3 years.
I know this company.
Coastal Gardens was
I met
around.
him.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
A guy named Perry Martin, I believe it was. But anyway, we worked there for 3 years. That didn't work out. After a while, they didn't want to be irrigation contractors. So I went back to ANCO for 2 more years to help them get there, because they were phasing out. So they wanted to get rid of the equipment. They wanted to offload the accounts. They wanted to get out of this business. So I spent 2 years there with them, helping them get out of the irrigation business.
Interesting.
Yes, and then I formed my own company with a guy named Mike Hirschfeld in 2005.
Cool.
That lasted all the way to 2012.
Got it.
And then he decided he wanted to do maintenance, and he actually moved to North Carolina.
Wow.
So since then, I've been on my own.
2015.
Since 2005.
2005, excuse me.
Right.
Yeah, got it. Cool.
Right.
So you've been doing this 40 years.
Yeah, I started, my first irrigation job was in 1983.
Amazing.
So
guys, I wanted to give you the background, and Eric is like, you have your own business now.
I do.
And you hold it down. So I want to get into that too. Like also like irrigation, what you've learned, what you know. Because how many stops do you do a day now?
Well, now I'm down to 4 to 6.
Okay.
And with the rain,
You were
I'm probably
telling me
down to 2.
You were telling me you were doing like 15.
We were doing 10 to 15 during the when we first started back, probably from 2009 all the way to 2018. We were doing
10 years.
10 to 15 stops a day through Service Magic, and then which became Home Advisor, which became Angie's List.
God, they would get you leads.
Yes, I generated a lot of leads from them. Approximately about 4,000 service calls from between the two.
Incredible.
In a 10-year period.
So that's a lot of reps.
It's a lot of reps, a lot of repeat customers. At one point, they estimated that I had 400 to 700 repeat customers.
No way.
Yeah.
Just through the platform.
Yeah, and I still have quite a few of those people that are still with me.
Don't you feel like once you've probably worked for a ton of people, right?
I did. We used to do, back then we would go to Boca Raton and we'd go all the way to Hope Sound. Now we don't go any further south than Delray or Lake Worth. And
I'm like that too.
yeah, and
density, guys.
We don't go anywhere further than Juneau now.
It's a good lesson.
Yeah. As the older I get, the less I really want to travel. You know, with the traffic situation in Florida now and cost of gas, it's just not.
And how long
for me to do that?
I feel the same. And that with 95 now and everything, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you've seen a lot of changes here, man.
I have. When I started out, hydraulics was still a viable irrigation system that they used on golf courses and other large communities. So I've seen that phase out. I've seen the mechanical timers phase out. I was around when the original digital started coming out.
Now it's Wi-Fi on your phone.
Wi-Fi, 2-wire pass. Yeah, it's radio controlled. It's gone a long way. Well, you know, irrigation follows every other technology. I mean, NASA leads the way, and then eventually all that stuff at NASA ends up in commercial and ends up in residential eventually. So yeah,
that's where all the innovation happens.
That's where all the innovations come from.
So interesting.
Yeah. No, it was a really interesting trip.
So yeah, man, because I bring you on when I have the mechanical timers and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll bring you on because that stuff's dated for me. You come right in and you know it like it's second nature, right?
Yeah. What's the wonder is what's next. I mean, now they're making radio controlled valves. There's no wires in the ground. So I mean, what's next?
Exactly.
AI?
What do you think? Yeah, exactly. What do you think? Are they going to be at a place where they could design?
That's the whole thing. I'm not. You know, I'm more of a mechanical minded. I always tell people I'm an analog man in a digital world. So I don't know what's next. It's just. It's like anything else. You just have to sit and wait and see what happens.
So I was asking, how long have you been out in Loxahatchee?
I've been in Loxahatchee. Me and the wife and the 3 kids moved up there in 2000.
Very cool. The acreage.
Yeah, the acreage. Yeah.
You like it out there?
Oh yeah, getting a little crowded now. I don't really like that.
I saw Westlake go up. I remember when they clear cut it.
Westlake is not really an issue to me. It's more of a ancient palm and old in the
right.
Avnir.
That's the one by you.
Yeah, North Lake.
Yeah. I remember I was going down Coconut one day, whatever that was, and it was gone.
Yeah,
remember
it's all
that?
gone. Yeah, and I miss it. We had a nice country setting. We were, you know, I wouldn't say urban as much as, you know, country, but now it's becoming way more urban.
It's kind of true, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever you want to call it, suburban, connected.
Yeah, you got the, you know, back now you have people out there building 6,000, 7,000 square foot homes, you know, and they're pushing all the old rednecks and country people out.
That's right. They're trying.
But the property values have soared.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Oh, yeah.
So it's happening. What regard? It is happening.
Yeah. I mean, we would do well if we ever decided to sell.
Yeah.
Because we got in at right at the right time.
Do you want to?
No.
Cool. Yeah,
No, I like where I live.
You raise your kids there?
Yep. All
and grandkids now?
No, I got a grandbaby. He loves it out there. I have the building is up now. We have all that done. So every time he goes in there, that's all he wants to do is go in there and play around.
He likes it?
Oh, yeah.
That's where you tinker and stuff.
Yeah. You know, between the grow house and the aluminum manufacturing and the man cave, there's so much for him to see.
Cool. So there's a shop there, too.
There is a shop. We have Ron Kaysen. You met him, my business
Ron was
partner.
on the pod. Shout out, Ron.
His son is a incredible fabricator.
Yeah.
Especially aluminum. he's got contracts with Publix for awnings. He does all kinds of work, and we do a lot of the manufacturing is done right there in the building.
Amazing.
Yeah,
It's a nice space.
yeah, yeah.
So do you want to talk about the second part of that? You have a little.
We have a
hemp.
Me and Ron
operation.
are in a business where we have a small grow house in there for hemp. We were just really just doing experimental because Ron's in the process of buying his own farm.
Amazing.
Yeah. The hemp business, it's been. I think the hemp is good if you have a large farm and you can produce massive biomass, because the biomass is what's most important now with hemp.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, they use it for horse bedding now. They use it for rabbit bedding. They literally use it for making chicken feed. I mean, it's a way cleaner product. It's better for the animals. It's better for the environment, and it's sustainable. But be honest, the THC is going to be where the real money's going to be.
That's the cash crop.
That's a cash crop.
Yeah. So, and Ron's a pro at all that stuff.
Ron, you're not going to meet anybody who knows more about that plant species and other businesses in general. Ron's been in a lot of businesses, restaurateur, beverage business, janitorial business, even in the paper manufacturing business for a newspaper. Ron was worked at a newspaper in New York. So, yeah, he's got a lot of experience in that, which is good.
Yeah, it's good.
And he's traveled the world.
He's a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, very sprite guy.
But by the way, so you designed that irrigation system though for the whole grow.
Yeah, it's just a small emitter drip.
But it's still cool. It's like it saves the water. You flow it through every day.
Well, what we do is we use an air conditioner to climate control. So we gather the condensations from the air conditioner and we recycle that.
Got it.
Yeah, because it has a consistent pH of about 7. So it takes very little amendments for us to get it down. The optimal is between 6 and 7 is your optimal for hemp and for THC.
Got it. And you tested the water, it was 7.
Yeah, we test it every time before we water.
Wow.
We'll go ahead and we'll do a pH test before we turn the sprinklers on. We don't automate it. We do it. We turn it on by manual because it's such a small grow, and it's such a small area, and we don't want to overwater.
You guys are smart.
Right, because we have to control the humidity as well inside that little greenhouse.
It's a big deal with those.
It gets out of hand sometimes, so what we'll do is sometimes we'll have to lay out extra buckets of water or something just to increase the humidity. We have a humidifier.
Yes.
We set up a couple of humidifiers in there.
Cool.
Because we want to keep the humidity, you want to be a little bit above 50%. Anywhere between 50 and 70% is optimal. Anything higher, you're going to get fungus. Anything lower, you're going to get stunted growth.
Got it.
You're going to affect the growth of the plant.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and indoors is really good too because we can control the insects a lot better. And we control the weather. We call it making Hawaii. We're trying to make Hawaii in the building. That's what we want. That perfect little peak between the humidity and the temperature.
The plants deserve it.
They do, and they love it.
I bet they do.
Oh, and it's you see a rapid growth once they take off.
Those grow quick.
Very quick. The new most common is what they call the autoflower now. I'm sure you're familiar with the autoflower.
That's what you guys grow.
It's about a 60, 70 day growth cycle to maturity.
2 months.
Yes.
Quick.
But they don't grow as large though. They're a smaller plant.
That's
they generally peak out at about 3 feet, 3.5 feet.
So explain that. What's the difference between autoflower because it just automatically is female flowers?
Yeah, it's automatic. It's a sterilized seed. It's a feminized.
Feminized, exactly.
Feminized seed, and you cannot clone them. So it's a seed pop, and that's it.
That's right.
So there's no.
I've heard you can't clone them. So
yeah, you can't clone them.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Because by the way, the other seeds you don't know if it's going to be female or male. That's part of it.
No, what you do is you take the regular, and you'll take it through a veg cycle. And what you'll do is you'll veg it until you get to the height you want or the size you want, and then you start to go into flower.
And then more sunlight.
Yes. No, we drop the sunlight.
Oh, okay. Wait, so you veg it with the 24 hours?
18 hours.
18 hours.
18 hours on veg and then 12 hours on
So you dip it down to 12.
Flower.
That's right.
Because you want dark. It has to be total darkness for the plant to cycle.
Got it.
So
you turn off the lights for 12 hours.
They come off. The lights are the only thing that we have on automatic.
Okay.
Right.
But you manually do the water.
We manually start the watering. Yes.
Cool. Does it fill it up with the valve control? Amazing.
Yeah, we use what we call an open emitter system, which basically means that the emitter is not obstructed, so we can run fertilizers through the tank as it waters.
Wow.
We can fertilize as it waters.
Open emitter.
Open emitter.
So you could fertigate.
Fertigate.
Wow.
Because in the past we've had issues where the emitters would clog and we'd have issues, and one plant would not get enough, and he'd have misgrowth. Some would look really big, some would look really small.
It's because it's clogged up.
Yeah, because they're not getting the same.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them are in the same bed, and the type of soil that Ron brought in is it's a wixing type soil, so it spreads.
Got it.
Yeah. So the top stays generally dry, so you keep your fungus and all your other
It's healthier.
healthier.
Big time.
Healthier. But if you move the dirt a little bit, you'll see it's all nice and damp underneath, and the plants are happy.
You got to know the plants, man.
Happy
Dude.
till we pop them.
Yeah. Dude, thanks for sharing that. The hemp grow. So
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And, but I want to get back to irrigation.
All right.
How, tell me about some of your projects, because 4,000 calls, Eric?
Those
Are you
are
kidding
those
me?
are mostly
What?
residential. Those are
Okay.
people calling me online, or people who have problems with their sprinkler system. They would go on to service, and they would
To see if they want you or not.
right.
Got it. So now, because that's a good point, right? Not all those would hit.
Right.
But they're
You
nonetheless.
still paid for them.
That's true.
Right.
So people don't know that. Yeah, I used to work with Yelp and a bunch of these, and
Yeah.
you pay to play.
Yeah, and what happened was it got like everything else, it gets corrupt.
Yeah.
And they were going to larger companies were willing to pay more per call, so they were the first call. But what was happening with those service companies, you got to watch out for them, is even though you're the third or fourth guy on the list, you're still paying for the call,
Right.
even though you don't have a shot at it.
It got diluted.
Well, if you're the fourth or fifth guy on the list, yeah, they've already found somebody.
Yeah. But they don't tell you.
Yeah, and then they had this feature where they said if somebody picked you, so they would say, let's say a regular call was $12, but if somebody said I want him, they would say $20 call. But what they didn't tell you was that somebody could say I want him, him, and him, so they would charge all three of us that $20, whether you got the job or not. It really didn't bother me that much because the math worked out in the end, because with the amount of calls I was getting would easily cover the cost of that service.
Is that right?
But then it started getting really crazy in the end there, and I just didn't want it anymore.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's similar to Facebook ads. They said, anyways, like I wasn't in that world, but I hear from marketing people.
Yeah.
It was great at first, and then it was
Yeah.
like all of a sudden.
Well, the real falling out with them was they sent me out to a customer who was mentally ill. And when I got there, the woman was just whacked out on pills. And she was walking around and she fell a couple times. She tripped.
Are you serious?
So I told her, I can't stay here. You got to go in because I'm insured. If I'm insurance, I don't want my liability on that. So what happened was I did the work for her, but she had a really serious problem. And what I did was just a Band-Aid. Well, she didn't like that. So she complained to Home Advisor. And Home Advisor told me that I needed to go back out there and make good on it. And I told them I'm not going to. I explained the situation, and they knew it because they had other subs that had met her and said the same thing.
Oh my goodness!
So
You got to be careful of those people.
Well, I got hooked up with a Me Too lawyer. had to serve.
Really?
Yeah.
And fight the thing.
And she decided, well, if you're not going to go out, we're going to suspend you. And I told her, well, don't suspend me, just take me off.
Yeah. Man, Eric, that breaks my heart. By the way, guys, if you haven't noticed, Eric's the sweetest guy ever. Seriously, man. I mean, I get along with you so great. It's so easy to. It's like if someone's treating you like that,
Yeah.
someone's got to be off, brother.
Well,
You bring people
at the time
presence.
I was scaling down anyway, so it was a blessing in disguise.
There you go. It always is.
Yeah. And then they call me every month after that, begging me to come back.
I bet.
Which I don't want anything to
Leave
do with.
me alone.
Yeah, leave me alone. I don't want anything to do with it. I just don't need it. I have enough established customers to take me through the rest of my career that I don't need anymore.
Brother, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope that inspires me. I hope to get to that point one day. People
You
want,
will.
I love it.
You will. Yeah. I mean, if you're honest with people, you do good work. You don't try to rip everybody off. Then yeah, you'll go far.
That's right.
And I know you, Jack. You're a good guy. You're an honest guy.
Thanks, man.
That's why you were friends.
That's right.
So you're not out to hurt anybody. And everybody that I've heard that you've worked for has been very happy with your service.
Man.
So.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
You treat people right, and they treat you well back.
Absolutely. You don't need to have a big advertising budget in this type of work, especially the service work. You just have to have a good reputation.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
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 It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you work for somebody's mother. Next thing you know, you're working for the sister. You're working for the cousin. You're working for the neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
It's all word of mouth.
That's right.
Which
Hey,
is
Eric
the
gets it
best
done.
Yeah, it's the best advertisement in the world is word of mouth.
Brother.
Right now,
This guy doesn't go to business school. He knows everything you need to know.
right now, I get
Referrals.
a lot of my new work comes from Nextdoor app,
Really?
which is free.
It's right. It's just people talking to their neighbors.
What happens? Somebody will go on and say, "Hey, my sprinkler system's not working." Someone will put you on there and say, "Hey, I suggest this guy," and then from there, it's like a fire, like a wildfire. It just keeps going and going and going.
Nextdoor app.
Nextdoor app.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's been great.
Keep
I don't
up with
know how I got on it, but I'm
That's
on
right.
it.
People just put you in
Yeah,
there. That's
I
what
don't
I
know
hear.
how I got on it, but I'm on it, and I like to thank the person who started it, if I ever knew who it was, but I have no way of knowing.
Nice.
But no, it's been great. It's a really good app because it's an honest app. You know, you're not getting a better service because you're paying more. You're
not
know.
trying to upsell.
right. And I don't even have an account on them.
It's just like user.
People just call me out of the blue.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like I said, word of mouth is the best way to get business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So tell people. I want people to understand because he's in Crocs. I love your Crocs, by the way. It's the irrigation way. It
is absolutely.
You get
for
wet.
For service.
See,
not
there
an
you go.
install uniform. It's a service
Install what boots?
Yeah. Nails and construction crap all over the place. Yeah, you got to be careful.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But then you come out there to
when
fix
I'm cleaning your
pipe,
heads or checking your heads or doing service on it, I'm going to wet all day.
test the system.
Yeah, so regular shoes, regular boots don't last you very long when they're soaked every single day.
So tell me, what are those like visits looking like when you're out there?
Oh, they vary. 90% of them are for repairs, broken heads, broken this, broken that. That would probably be the largest portion of it.
Truck ran into it. I hit it with the shovel.
Yeah, or just wore out. Or just there's replacements. There's a lot of pump replacements. We have what we call pump season. What'll happen is we'll get a big rain event like we've had. When this rain finally stops and people start to turn their systems on, the pumps are
dead.
The pumps are down. Last year we did 19 pumps.
Wow, pump season.
Pump season. We call it pump season.
This is great. By the way, I've experienced this.
Yeah, you will.
I think I've come to you with this.
Well, you know what?
The pump's down.
The simple way to fix it, and a simple way to make it, and I always tell my customers, especially my good ones,
Please.
is if you're having a month of rain and you're not going to run your pump, go out there and just bump it for 5 minutes. Just bump it, because the problem with the pumps is the bearings aren't greasable. They're greased in the factory, and that's it. So what happens is when your pump sits idle for so long, all that lubrication falls to the bottom of the bearing. When you go to start it back up, you're dry. Those bearings are dry because its pump has sat so long.
That's right.
And a lot
It
of
dries
times
up.
the water will get in there and you can't dry it out. So if it's going to have, your pump's going to be off for a month or longer, just go out and bump it. You don't have to let it run, just bump it. So the bearings re-lubricate, so everything still stays wet. The impeller, everything stays wet. And you don't have all that excessive water building up, because as soon as you start that pump, the fan blows all that out. And if that water sits on those coils and stuff, when you turn it up, you're going to hear pop, smoke, and then you call me.
So probably a lot of new homeowners too.
And
like
a lot of
going to,
and pumps.
Interesting.
The pump cost has gone up exponentially, twice as high in the last 4 years.
in the last 4 years.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
terrible.
can we talk about that?
Well, I don't really want to talk politics on your podcast, but if you asked me if I was better off 4 years ago, yes,
That's right.
way better off.
Enough said, brother.
Enough said. And it's not
Wow.
really a burden on me, because I pass those costs down to the customer.
It's true.
So,
But might get less jobs. It trickles down, brother. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you will, because what happens is then you have a large online presence. So if I go to a customer and he says, I want a 1.5 horse pump. Well, right now the average installation for a 1.5 horse pump is anywhere between $800 and $900. That pump cost me over $400. But you got people who can go online to Amazon and say, oh, I see it online for $425. Why are you charging me $800? Well, because I have insurance, I have gas, I have a bond, I have license fees. You know, it's not like all that money that I make, I keep. It's not, you know, that's the illusion that I'm going to profit $400 from you on that pump. In the end, I might end up $275, $250 once all the other costs are factored in. But the problem is that, you know, pumps alone have gone up almost $300 in the last 4 years.
Wow.
And it's only because of manufacturing and shipping costs. Still the same pump.
It's because of the shipping and the
manufacturing. We don't
supply
manufacture metal
chain
in America anymore.
Wow.
We just sold American steel just sold to Japan.
So now it's all overseas.
Should have never been allowed to happen.
Brother, this is important.
They should have. The government they bail out all these other people. They're throwing money at Green Deal crap. But they could have bailed out the steel people and kept it in America.
What do you think that the reason is for that?
Oh, their agenda.
Do you want to talk about that? What do you think?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that the current administration and the other one that's trying to become the president has a terrible liberal agenda that America's not a socialist country.
Right.
We became the most powerful and greatest, and everybody wants to come here because of our system. So why change it?
Dude.
And
it is like they're saying everyone else is radical. What they're doing is pretty radical.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is if you woke up from a coma 10 years ago, you wouldn't recognize America today. You know, with all these protests going on at the colleges and allowing that shit to happen, tearing down statues,
and allowing it to happen,
burning police stations. You know, and no recourse on any of these people. They get away with they're doing it. They're going to get away with. They're going to keep doing it.
Hey guys, just wanted to take a moment to talk about our sponsor, Urban Abundance. We help people grow food at home. And if that's something you're interested in doing, or maybe you don't know where to get started, or it's really overwhelming, but you want to grow food, give us a call today. We help you design, install, and maintain your garden. We do fruit trees, we help you with maintenance, and we just really want to make sure you're getting the result you want and you're growing food. So if that's something you're interested in, click the link below and get on your garden design phone call today. Let's get back to the video.
Dude, and it's so obvious to you and I, and thanks for opening up about that. Eric, my question to you, because it's like, what is it? Because to me, it's like it's treason. It's like, that's how I see it. What do you think?
It's a failed experiment. You weren't around, but I was around for Jimmy Carter. I was getting out of high school, sitting in gas lines 3-4 miles along, and only able to fill up my tank on odd days because I had an odd plate number. That was this social experiment that they're doing now. It fails. It fails in every aspect, and it's going to fail again. And unfortunately, it's you guys, you younger generations, that are going to get screwed. I'm on a tip here. I'm almost retired, dude. I got a couple more years, and I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm well set. My house is
I haven't done 4,000 irrigation calls yet. Yeah.
Well, my house is almost paid for. My building's paid for. So I'm not
awesome.
You guys, my kids. That's who I worry about. My kids and my grandchildren. Those are the people who are going to pay for this stuff.
So, because we're going to be alive, someone's got to.
You're going to be paying for colleges that you didn't go to. You're going to be paying for illegal aliens that have health insurance and everything else. I mean, you listen to it. They want to give $150,000 to illegal aliens to buy homes in California, when the average home in California is $800,000. So what happens when the tax bill comes?
It's a nightmare.
They're gone.
Yeah.
It's the housing burst that we had back in the 80s.
Yeah, interesting. What do you think? What do you think's going to happen? And then we could switch topics, but this is good.
I have faith in the American people. I think we're going to pick right. I think we're going to go back to being, a constitutional country, because we're a republic. We're not a democracy so much as we are a republic. We're a democratic republic, and the difference between a republic and a democracy is republic is for the individual. A democracy is a mold of people that it's for everybody. Like when they say the problem is they want everybody to end up in the same place. We're never going to, that's not America.
How about based on merit? Sure.
Based on merit and based on ability,
that's
not
America.
Equity. Equality, yes. Equity, no.
So this might trigger a lot of people, but this is a good point. Like, I think, what you're saying, it's almost as if the founding fathers, like the people who started this country, knew that
They
no
knew.
matter what,
Just-
people are going to come in and try to like bring you down.
The communist
They knew.
The communist movement has existed in America for a lot longer than people realize.
Wow.
It goes back to the 40s and the 50s.
It's like, it's always been
and
kind of
but it
present.
never took ground in America because we were founded in our constitutional rights and that everybody has an opportunity to be somebody.
There was common sense,
And
right?
it
it's-
wasn't based on your
right.
skin color, your sex, or your religion, or any of that. You were able to be. Everybody in America has the same rights. You know, I see these things, transgender rights. Okay, what right don't they have? Hell, you can marry your dog legally.
I've seen
so,
that.
So
the news.
what right are we being denied? Are they being denied? I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I hear you. It's
But
also
maybe I'm
like
just old.
Yeah, we could just be crabby.
Yeah.
There's always that. But dude, I know what you mean. Like I saw that, but it's also to each his own, right?
Exactly.
You
I don't
wanna
have any
go-
problems with that. You want to be a woman. You want to wake up one day and say you're a woman. That's fine. That's your fantasy. But don't try to force everybody else to agree to that fantasy because it's just not going to happen.
Facts. And by the way, maybe a nation filled with a bunch of people who believe this or are doing that might not be the strongest.
I don't think I don't think it
It's
is.
not
I don't think the
wise.
majority of people in America think that way. I think it's the
Yeah.
people that are doing it are just the loudest.
I agree.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's what it is. So you got to.
It's like that lady on Work Advisor. She's the loudest.
Yes.
Ruins your whole deal. The other 99.
Because it's a woman, I need to go ahead and go back there, and I need to subject myself back to her, addiction and all the rest of that stuff, and I wasn't going to do it.
Which I've seen, when you work with people like we do,
Yeah.
you see people, you're in their world.
Yeah,
Wow.
I work. I do a
it's-
lot of work on Palm Beach Island. I do a lot of work in Singer. I work with a lot of liberals, but they're not the psycho. I would say liberals. I would say Democrats. But
Yeah,
you know what?
yeah.
We talk. We're concerned about it. I've lost a few jobs because of my bumper stickers.
What are your bumper stickers?
Well, it says you can't fix stupid, but you can elect it out. And then on the side it says, if you voted for Biden, you owe me gas money. So actually, about a week ago, I lost it. I lost a job for that.
Really?
Yeah, which was really unusual because the woman, I worked for her neighbor, who is also a liberal, but she loves me, and she need to have work done on her sprinkler. Said, you need to call this guy. He's an honest guy. And she agreed with everything I said till we came around the truck.
And she turned.
Yep, she said, we're done.
Interesting.
And that's
Brother-
not the first time that's happened. to me.
Yeah. That's not that bad. That offends you.
No.
We
doesn't
could
offend
elect
me.
you
Yeah,
out.
Yeah.
You're not doing my irrigation.
Well, when I got there, she told me, she said, well, you're the only one that answered the phone. The only other people that answer the phone don't speak English. They didn't show up. And she said, what you're telling me is exactly the opposite of what everybody else is telling me because they were trying to rip her off. She had a timer that was fine, but they didn't know how to program it. So what they kept telling her timer's no good. She needed a new timer. And then they told her because she had a little bit of rust on her pump, she needed a new pump. So she was looking at $2,000. And I go there and say, there's nothing wrong with your pump. There's nothing wrong with your timer. Actually set the timer for her. And then I was going to come back and add some heads for her a couple days later. But then when she saw the bumper stickers, that was the end of it.
Burn the bridge.
But what was funny was the woman who gave her my name actually called me and apologized to me.
Amazing.
And she said, I'm sorry, Eric, I didn't realize she was going to be like that. Because she apparently went over and went off on her.
Interesting. That's her probably, anyways, her emotional
They're,
home.
that's the one thing I find out about. They're either so whacked out, there's very, very little in between when it comes to those.
Right, there's no reasoning at a certain
Right,
point. Yeah.
right.
But by the way, I love working with people. Like
I do too.
Yeah.
I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your sex.
Yeah.
I have several gay couples that I work for, and that's fine. I have no problem with any of that.
Right.
To each his own, like you said.
Right.
But don't get on me because I don't think the way you think, or I don't act the way you act.
Sure. Right.
Or I don't vote the way you vote. It's basically what it comes down
Yeah,
to,
it's
which is really what's wrong with this country right now. We're so divided.
That's
over
what that was my next question, brother. You're on it. Like, why are we? That's what I wanted to get at. Why? Because I hear that the biggest issue people have, like, with the people who live around them and their neighbors, the least likely thing they want, it's not race, it's not any of those things you said. It's their political
Well, they just came out
position.
they came out with a poll. The millennials, 47% of them pick a job that based on their political beliefs. And 57% of them pick a mate based on their political beliefs.
Yeah, I mean, it checks out, but it's wild. Why is it? Because it's so divided, right? Because back in the day, you're right. It was like, I mean, still, I treat it like that too. You meet people who are swinging one way and one. Hey, I love you either way. Golden
my kids
rule,
are
baby.
liberal. Both my 2 kids are liberal. I used to have a bumper sticker. It used to be on my van. Above it said Trump 2020. Below it said, "I love my liberal daughters," and I do.
So you've really accepted the liberal community. It's your family.
Yeah, you know what? We're all one thing. Here's the problem I have: we all shop at the same grocery store. We all have to pay the same gas prices. We all have to pay the same rent. All the costs are the same whether you're a liberal or you're not. So why would you keep voting for stuff that's just going to keep taking you down the rabbit hole? Just because you don't like the tweets of the other guy, or you don't like his personality. I vote based on issues. I don't vote based on personalities and stuff like that.
Right.
And there have been some great Democrat presidents, and there's been some really crappy ones. There's been some bad Republican presidents. Nobody is all good and nobody is all bad. But you got to pick and choose.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, we shop at the same place.
Exactly. You pay the same prices. So why? Why continue that just because you don't like the way Donald Trump talks? Either way, it doesn't matter to me. I know when Donald Trump was in charge, we didn't have 20 million people coming into the country. We didn't have all these wars going on and all these threats of war. We didn't, we went up to 9% interest. Jesus, that's incredible.
It's crazy.
And some of the prices are still at 20% increase since then. It's ridiculous. Why did we stop drilling? Why did we stop the Keystone Pipeline but let the Russians continue there? Those are all policies, I think, that affect everybody, whether you're a Republican or Democrat or not.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, and
I think,
just
Eric, you see very clear, and I think the key is we got to stop trusting the news.
Oh, I don't trust the news at all.
It's important. Yeah, at all, right?
Especially on the internet.
At all.
Y'all like they say, there's another poll out where most of the millennials get your information from TikTok. Well, if you're getting your news from TikTok, you deserve what you get.
And you don't get the whole story.
You get whatever story they want. You just saw the story with Alexis, right? Well, ask Alexis about Donald Trump, and they say they have no opinion. Ask Alexis about Kamala Harris, and it goes on about how great she is, and she was the first black president or candidate. Oh, yeah, Amazon just had to pull it because they got caught.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's so crooked. It's so one-sided. And if you ever notice all these glitches that these tech companies have, they only go one way, against the conservatives. They never go against the Democrats. Mm-hmm. And now we're back to Russia.
But hey, I mean, I totally agree. I'm hopeful for our country.
Me too. I am too. Very hopeful.
I love it.
But it's you guys especially that need to be aware, because it's going to affect you guys for a long, long time. If he gets the right to cancel all those college tuitions, you're going to pay for that. It's going to come out in your taxes, not mine. I'm close to the end of my taxes. I got 2 more years before I'm collecting Social Security.
Yeah, it's crazy. The college debt thing is crazy. we could go way down the rabbit hole on this.
Yeah,
but
yes.
Dude, it's so good though. Hey, I'm
yeah.
glad we talked about it, guys, because you're real. I guess before, dude, because we got to bounce out of here. I want to know, like, Eric, explain to someone. You kept saying pump and all this stuff. I wish we talked about it. We could have talked about it before. Fuck, Sam, I'm fucking it up. Anyways, we could. Anyways,
you want to talk about the irrigation business?
Yeah, no, exactly. No. It's yeah. So you mentioned pumps before. Like, what is irrigation? Can you just if you're teaching like an engineer, like how do you engineer? What is a pump, and how do we get our water?
Well, the first part you have to do before you look at any design is you have to know what your availability is. So first of all, you need to know your gallons per minute, GPM, what is available to you, which is going to be based on how much power you have. So what you do is you'll lay your system out. You'll find out, okay, you have 230 volts. You have a house, a regular size house. You have a well as your source or your pond as your source. You know that from a 1.5 horse pump, you're going to get about 30 gallons a minute. So what you do is you would base all your zones on that premise. So that would be the start of your system.
This is deep,
and
y'all.
then
Let's
with
go.
irrigation, we do everything backwards. So we start at the end of the line and we count the heads as we come back till we get to the valve, and that'll give us our gallons per minute.
So
Then
this is
you-
important. So you have to track that. Yeah, right. And I love this, but I want to also know, like, exactly what's your availability. So you're saying, what's the capacity? How much water could we put out?
Yeah. Like I said, you have to start off first with the available power. So
Right.
if you have 120 available to you, you're not going to get any more than 20, 30 gallons a minute. If you
Yeah.
have 230 available, you're pretty much, depending on the amperage available, you can go up to 200, 300 gallons a minute.
Exactly. So I guess also for the layman, like, what does the availability mean? Like, where does the water come from?
Well-
Pretend like you don't even know what a pump is for a 5-year-old.
Okay, well, let's just say if you have a regular city system, your regular city system generally is a 3/4 meters common, maybe a 1-inch meter. On that meter, you're going to get about 15, 20 gallons a minute before you affect the house. So in other words, if I'm looking at a house and it's city water, I won't design the zones larger than 15 gallons a minute. Because at any given time when that system's running, you're depleting the availability to the house.
It affects the rest of the
It
house.
will affect the rest of the house during that operation.
It's the same system.
Right.
Same source.
Same source.
Cool. So that's city.
So that's a single source. If you
Right.
have
I'm out here. We have pumps.
you have pumps and you have a pond. So then what you have to do is you have to look at the availability of power, how much power you have available to you. See, like on a farm like this, if you had 230 and you had 40 amps available, you could put a 5-horse pump in here. You could probably do the whole property in 2 or 3 zones. But if you have less than that, let's say you only have 30 amps, well, you're not going to go above 3-horse. So now you're probably going to take 7 zones to do it.
Based on the power, you choose how many zones you need.
Well, the power is where you start. That allows you to know how much availability you're going to have. Then you go from the power to the actual source, whether it's going to be the pond, which is unlimited because it's a pond, or a well, which has a limitation depending on how deep the well is and what the size of the well is.
Amazing. So what is the limitation on well? Because people think, oh, we just dig a well and it's all perfect.
Well, the
There's a lot
factors on
going
the
on.
well are vertical lift in diameter.
Okay.
So if you have 100-foot, if you have a 2-inch well and the well's 100 feet deep, you're probably going to get 20, 25 gallons a minute. But if that same well was 50 feet deep, you would get 30 to 35 gallons per minute. You understand what I'm talking about? You have to factor in the friction loss. You have to factor in the strength that pump has to use to pull that column of water up 100 feet instead of 50 feet.
So how do you determine how deep you go? Because every well's different, right?
Well, that's what I do. I'll find out how deep the well driller deeped it, and then you can't. The other problem is a lot of people say, "Oh, well, just put a 5-horse pump on it." You can't put a 5-horse pump on it; you'll destroy the well. You can overtax a well, believe it or not.
Right. So and it dries it up.
It won't dry it up. It'll just you'll cavitate. You'll never get the proper source. You'll never get the proper volume. The well will cavitate, and eventually you could break it.
Wow.
Right, Florida has a lot of water. Unfortunately, a lot of it's crap.
Really?
We have very high sulfur amounts of water. You remember when you turn on your well, it smells like rotten eggs.
Yeah.
You know.
We have the iron, the
We have the
stains.
iron, but the iron you can control by depth. Most of the iron is developed from tannic acid, which is breakdown of organic material. Over
At what depth?
decades, years and years and years. There's no set depth. It depends on where you're at. It's a hit or miss. I have customers. I have customers that are side by side. One of them has no iron. The other one has such bad iron he had to paint his house iron color to keep from cleaning it all the time.
People do that.
And the wells are 100 feet apart from each other.
Seriously.
Yeah, seriously. So it's all a roll of the dice. Where I live, east of Pratt Whitney. You know, if you go down, my well for the building is 105 feet, the one that was just recently drilled. No iron, but I do have a lot of sulfur and calcium. But just east of Pratt Whitney, you can go down 20, 30 feet and have fresh water, no iron, no. You'll still have some sulfur, but literally no iron. So it's all based, there are guys out there like Alvin Wooster who's been doing this for decades. They know when somebody calls them, they know, I'll say, Alvin, you're going to go do a place in Lake Worth at a specific area. He can tell you what's going to be there before he drills.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I
met him at one
Oh,
time.
yeah, he's great. He's right. I
Yeah.
see him every morning at Melrose.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, he's an inspiration.
You're that really?
To be, he's still kicking, dude. He's still kicking it out there every day. Him and his son.
So cool.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys are at the irrigation supply every morning.
Yeah. It's like a. I connected to the. Remember, what was it? The Tim Allen show, Toolman, where they all met at the hardware store every morning, and that's basically Melrose. There's a regular group that shows up there. We all bullshit.
That's what it
Talk
is.
shit, yeah.
It's
Well, we
just
get parts. We're there to buy stuff.
Yes.
It's not just. Yeah.
But it's family.
Unfortunately, that's going to disappear soon too, because Melrose is slowly becoming not Melrose anymore.
They're consolidating.
Well, they were bought out by Site One.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So it's not a little family anymore.
We digress. Wait, so we were getting into it. You were saying Florida's water's crappy. Mineral deposits.
We have a large amount. We have in Florida, the water table is extremely high in most areas.
Got it.
So you're down 3 feet, 4 feet. If you have a pond, if you were to look at your pond, that's the water level underground.
Exactly.
Because in Florida, all the water travels through rock formations. And we have one of the largest freshwater sources in the United States underneath us.
See, that's how I understand. I thought we had we're the mecca of springs.
We have a lot. I don't know if we're the mecca. I think is it Michigan or one other state
Is that right?
has a lot of, yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember which one it was, but Florida's up there.
But we have, so, because you were just talking about the artesian wells and springs that
Yes.
pop up.
Yeah.
So the water's right there.
Yes.
For people listening, when they go to Publix and they see the water at that retention pond, it's literally right there because it's just like rocks.
Yeah.
It's full.
Well, what it is an artesian well is where the water's traveling, and it's in a compressed area. And then when they drill when they're drilling a well, what they'll do is they'll drill till they hit rock, because you want to be in a rock cavity when you draw on water. Otherwise, you'll be drawing sand and dirt and all the rest of that stuff. So the way they do that is they'll drill a certain amount, they'll start pumping. If they have lack of sand, no sand, okay, there's your well. If they still pulling sand and other crap, they'll go further until you get to clean water.
Until you hit rock.
Until you hit a rock base that's going to give you a nice cavity that's going to feed you for a long time.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you tap into that little cavity. That's what a pump is.
Yeah, and then sometimes you get lucky, or you get a little too far. You go too far, you hit the aquifer, or you hit an artesian well, which is the water will come out of the ground immediately because it's under pressure.
Wow.
But it's technically illegal. If you hit that, you're supposed to report it, and they come out and they plug it.
Got it. Because you could affect the
You
rest
could
of
affect and it's a good thing because you don't want to affect everybody else's drinking water.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's part of the water basin system. Yeah.
But due to the poor conditions of Florida water, it's great business for water systems services, just like your buddy here's brother does. It's a big business in Florida, especially in this area, because everybody's got to have water.
That's right.
And it's going to be years and years before you guys are on sewer and septic out here.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I was just staying up in the mountains and at a hostel on my backpacking trip.
Yeah.
I still look like a mountain man. I need to get a beard, a beard trim. But there was an artesian well, and it was all hooked up and beautiful, and the delicious cold water.
Yeah. My father-in-law lives in North Carolina in a cabin on a mountain, and they don't have a filtration system. All they have is a sediment filter. They pump straight out of the ground.
Get out of here.
No, water's clear as ever. The only thing
your brother, you said?
No, my father-in-law.
Your father-in-law.
Jim, you met Jim.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Jim. He used to own the nurseries.
Cool.
Yeah, he up there you can drink the water right out of the spigot.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, springs. It's like there's supposedly minerals, all these good stuff in there.
Well, there's not his is a spring. His is a well that they drilled. It's over 400 feet deep.
And they don't have to filter it, other than
That's just a sediment filter. That's all they do.
Why is that? It's just
because the water's clear. It's pure. It's more. It's not. Doesn't have a lot of the organic breakdowns in Florida that we deal with here.
Is it up by Hot Springs area, kind of?
No, he's in. God, I can't think of it. Name of the town, but I know if you drive a quarter mile one way, you're in Alabama. You drive a quarter mile the other way, you're in Georgia.
Got it.
So he's in that little corner where they all just kind of meet.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but you got good water, but it snows and you got cold and all the rest of that crap that goes along with it.
That's right.
So for
choose your battles, man.
Yeah. For every pro, there's a con.
Yep.
So,
I love living in Florida, man.
I do too. I've been here for 60. Well, I've been here 60 years now. 3 years in Germany, 60 years. So yeah, I've been here 60 years.
You've seen the growth.
I seen it. I started in
Whatever you
Broward
wanna
County.
call it.
When we were kids in Broward County, our backyard was the Everglades. We spent all our time there, all our weekends camping, every after day school. We all spent in the Everglades, fishing, doing stuff like that. Now you go there, and the Everglades is 40 miles.
It's like you have to drive to it.
Yeah, it's like young. I mean,
It was like your backyard.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It was all rural back then, very country. 441 was 2 lanes.
Yes.
Yep.
Now it's mayhem.
Yeah, it's mayhem.
Insane.
Yeah, my old neighborhood's still there, but there's no woods adjacent to us anymore. It's all developed out.
Sure.
But that all happened, that was part of how I got started. Broward County was booming in the early 90s.
There was like irrigation opportunity.
Oh my God, it was everywhere.
Really?
Yep. Digging was terrible, but it was still a big opportunity to do a lot of work there.
Really?
Yeah.
Why was digging terrible?
Rock.
Really?
They don't call Coral Springs for nothing.
That's right. It was limestone.
Coral. Yeah, cap rock.
Yeah. So it was like rock.
It would stick out of the ground.
Oh my goodness. So how you had dig
Special
ditch
equipment, special trenchers. Sometimes a lot of the developers would dynamite. A lot of them would import fill to make it so you can actually work on them, do stuff on them.
raise it up.
Yeah. It was, and then the work started once Broward flooded out, and it's migrated forward. So to Palm Beach now, it's Palm Beach is getting close. You don't see a lot of huge, big developments anymore in Palm Beach. New ones, other than Advere.
Those ones by you, I remember they were ordering all those.
Yeah, well, Arden was a rock quarry till they quarried out. So now they have the land. Those are large. Seven ones I think is 7,000 acres. I don't know exactly what Advere is, but it's got to be.
So you were saying in Boca there was more of those going on back then.
It was back then. Boca was really, really booming.
That's why it's mayhem now.
Yeah, now it's fill a spot here, fill a spot there, fill a spot there. And I do a lot of work in Boca Raton for Collin Builders and for Meisner Development, and they do custom homes. They're all high-end custom homes.
So that's what you do now, custom homes?
Yeah,
like
I don't do any commercial anymore. I don't do any large commercial projects. I do large custom homes. I do, primarily custom homes, irrigation and lighting.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you don't do nurseries anymore or build those
unless I'm asked to.
Yeah. You'll help me here?
Yeah, I'll come here.
Heck yeah.
I have helped a couple guys.
We got work to do.
Bond Garden.
Okay, close.
Yeah. I used to go see them. Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
I started out with the parents, and then I went on to Brent is his name, or still got him in my phone. I think it's Brent. Nice guy. They were nice people. They were great people.
Amazing.
Yeah. They had a nice farm over there. Typical to Jupiter Farms. Every time it rained, it flooded.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they did a good job. They had a nice thing going for a long time. I mean, Bond Garden Nursery was around for quite a while.
Yeah.
Sad to see him go.
You probably know a lot of these guys out here, man.
I probably did at some time. Remember the father-in-law? They had a couple nurseries. They had 40 acres on D Road in Okeechobee, right across from Vila. We had a 10-acre lychee farm on C Road, and then at some point they had
on C Road.
C
really?
Road, yep. And then we had I think it was 15 acres on Military Trail and 10th Avenue.
Whoa.
Yeah, that property's gone now. Now it's a housing development.
Right, of course.
Yeah. And
Loxahatchee has a lot of nurseries. And
they're not anymore. The Loxahatchee.
Really?
Well, they're getting rid of the green belt status. They want horses. They want equestrian. They want to go
money.
Equestrian. It's all money. And you're seeing a lot of the That's why Ron had to leave. He wasn't going to be able to farm.
We love the horses, but that really.
Yeah, he wasn't going to be able to farm hemp
because it's not zoned. Or something?
Yeah, they were going to pull that zoning, and you won't get the tax break anymore, which is a shame because there's a lot of nurseries in Loxahatchee.
That's what I'm saying. That's how I understand.
But that's what happens when you incorporate. And you elect a bunch of officials who are from New York and New Jersey, who want to become the equestrian, and they want to become Wellington.
They want more tax money.
Exactly.
We said it here.
You're probably gonna get banned now from I don't know where you post these
more
on.
More people, the more money can come in, we could get more.
Oh wait, let's just send out the DOJ to get that jack, man. What's he talking about?
This is getting out of control. But dude, it's funny too. I love how you're like C. People are probably listening who don't know Loxahatchee. We're like C Road and D Road. I always thought that was funny. They just named them letters.
You know,
Look, I live on E Road.
yeah. Well, you know,
But
back
it's
then
like a normal.
but there's a good example. You'd go out there and A Road or D Road ended. That was the end of the thing. Now it's another 10 miles west. It goes on and on and on. They're not named roads anymore. I mean, they're not letter roads anymore. But
I've been to some consults out there with some like.
well, I used to take care of one large 50-acre nursery down there called Hopetown. Nice people, owned by Bermuda.
Yeah.
Yeah, Art and the guys from Bermuda, and it's way out there. I mean, when I first started going out there, it was way out there. You were 5 miles before you seen anybody else. Now you go out there, you see everybody all 5 miles.
You're right.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for them to pave that road.
Yes.
Which is, you've been out there. They got the big solar farm out there now.
Yeah.
All those solar panels. But no, I mean, it progress, development is going to move. When I moved when we bought my house, and we bought it in actually 1999. I was a vet, so I had a VA loan, so I got a really good deal. My entire house and property was $149,000. The house across the street from me just sold for $785,000 without a pool or a building.
I was about to say, yeah, you have a
Yeah, and I'm at the end lot. I don't have a neighbor.
That's a 10x. That's 10x. Probably it's probably something like that.
By the time, it could go to $1 million by the time we were ready to leave. And the beauty of that is, we never mortgaged out, so we're within a year or two of owning the house itself.
Dude.
Yeah,
We need more
It needs
people
work.
like you out there, brother. Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there like me. You'd be surprised, man. There's still a lot of
100%.
old school acreage guys out there. Yeah, that still respect that. And
But brother, yeah, truly, you're, you walk the walk. You're an abundant soul. So I appreciate you.
well,
sharing.
hopefully I didn't offend any of your viewers. And you don't lose any more.
We probably
after
did,
this.
but that's all. We love them anyways.
Who's
but-
that asshole you had on there?
Yeah, I've been waiting for this, y'all. So this is awesome, man.
Hey, anytime, man. It was fun.
Eric, thank you, brother.
All right, Jack. Nice seeing you.
Peace, y'all.
Thank you for watching and all your support. Hey, do me a favor. Click the like and subscribe button down below if you haven't already. It goes a long way. We'll see you in the next one.